Fat boy? What you got going on? What you got going on, fat boy? What you got going on? Ho 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 ho. Oh, scratch miss. Hey, monkey. You got it going on too? Yeah? Okay. Hello, everybody. This time, it's Tuesday. It's episode number 625. Not a lot is going off. India just attacked Pakistan with a barrage of missiles in at least 3 locations. Big explosions. Videos are terrifying. Absolutely. There's packed streets and explosions happening next to people. I have no idea how far this is going to escalate, what type of retaliation Pakistan is going to do. I mean, these are 2 nuclear powers who hate each other's guts, and I don't know what type of steps they have towards mutually assured destruction. Any attacks between nuclear powers in the past have been done through proxies, and these are not proxies. These are the legit nuclear powers dropping bombs on each other. So I don't know how things are going to respond to that. Trump met with Carney today. Carney looked absolutely bewildered at the stupidity that was coming out of Trump's mouth, and was not letting Carney get in a word in edgewise. Just stupid statement after stupid statement. Carney being like, and then Trump would just keep talking. So a lot of eye rolling. I saw like a Twitch building there where he's just like, incredible stuff. Trump saying, we don't really do that much business with Canada. It's our number 1 trading partner. We do $350 billion in trade with Canada. We subsidize you $250 billion a year. Dude, buying stuff from your neighbor is not subsidizing. It is trade. You know how trade works, right? Like, if I buy a condo from Donald Trump, am I subsidizing Donald Trump, or am I just buying a condo from him? Which would be disgusting, because it'd be just coated in gold and brass and look like, I don't know, if Liberace puked out Marie Antoinette's brain or something. So, what's happening? GameStop got hit pretty hard today. Dropped about $1. What else happening? Monkey? Anything? Oh, Donald Trump, they announced that they're close to a trade deal with the United Kingdom. And in that trade deal, they're going to take tariffs off of steel and cars for the UK. And in return, the United States gets nothing. So, negotiator in chief, everybody. Just give it up for him. He's absolutely just winning this hand. So dumb. Everything we do is so dumb, monkey. Just change the name of the show as everything we do is so dumb. So, since the world's blown up, let's blow up the world. Okay, turned it off, Houston. It is now off. Jika Shukla, thoughts on Palantir and its CEO. I don't really understand what it is Palantir does. It seems that they make software for military contracts. It seems to be that they right now they're focusing on contracts to sort of scrape data of Americans to identify people to throw into gulags. Their CEO seems like kind of like a goofy, curly-haired, like, hey, I'm happy-go-lucky tech guy, but their biggest investor is Peter Thiel, and he's a Bond villain. I would say, on the whole, they're probably the purest embodiment of evil of any military defense contractor in existence, namely because what they do is so nebulous and involves so much with, like, making software so that drone masses can kill hundreds of people at once, and it's just sketchy. Everything they do is sketchy as shit. And I'm sure that 50 years in the future, people will be talking about, I can't buy a Palantir brand anything because they made the ovens that put the dissidents in or something. You know, like my mom talks about Krups. So, don't like them. A lot of people, they're gonna probably do gangbusters with this administration, getting contracts. But at the personal level, evil personified. Fair Stuff says, hi, monkey. And 9 says, yo. And 9 says, first to say first. This is true. Even though Fair Stuff was first. And hi, monkey. Monkey's on the floor. Fat cat's taking her spot again. Monkey looks very sad about it. You can just always take it back anytime you want. You don't have to sit there on the floor and look mopey. Yeah. She do what she do. Fair Stuff, the Fed tomorrow. How bad is it going to be? Ooh. Well, I think it's gonna be bad. I think it's gonna be bad, but they'll come out. It'll be better than what it really is. That's what I think. Is it'll come out. It won't be as bad as everyone thinks, and then in a month or so they'll readjust and it will be really bad. That's what I think. Consumer confidence is going to be in the toilet. CPI might not be that affected yet because we're still kind of milking off what we got in warehouses. But even though oil prices are collapsing, gas prices are not going down. Trump was like, see that? Everyone's having $1.99 a gallon gasoline. No, dude, that's the wholesale price. I dare you to find $1.99 gasoline anywhere in this country. It is, I mean, here it's $4, $3.99. Granted, we have probably the biggest gas tax. Maybe California's bigger gas tax, but we have a pretty big gas tax in Washington. But you go to states that don't have big gas taxes, like Oklahoma, you're still paying, probably close to $3. I think the nationwide average is $3.18. So, the inflation's still there. Egg prices are still crazy. I think egg prices are at $6 to $8 right now for a dozen eggs. My neighbor who puts eggs out on the side of the street because her chickens just keep producing them, it's $5 for a dozen. It's cheaper to get like the fancy boutique eggs from your neighbor who eats kitchen scraps and stuff like that than it is to get a factory farmed egg at this moment. Yeah. Daniel Bachelor, happy birthday. Real ID goes live tomorrow. Can't wait to see the fallout of my fellow travelers being denied entry onto flights. Gonna be a shit show. Real ID is so stupid. It is an unnecessary bureaucratic burden. And it's just a silly thing. These are for domestic flights. These are not flying international. These are not involving passports and things like that. It's just hop on a plane going from, Oakland to Las Vegas or whatever. It is not going to a foreign country, a foreigner coming into this country. And to get that real ID, like if you go get your original driver's license when you're 16 or whatever, you bring in your proof of residency, your birth certificate, you pass your test, you get your license. Now, to get the real ID, you got to come in with your birth certificate, proof of residence to get your real ID license. It's the same crap. It's not any different. So just, the qualifications to get an ID should be enough to get a real ID. And the whole reason why they had to postpone it so many times was that a whole bunch of states never even set themselves up to stamp real ID on things. So here in Washington, if you got the enhanced driver's license, which allows you to go to Canada without a passport, you qualify as a real ID. But if you never bother to get that, well, you can't go on airplanes anymore. And so I don't even know if they even set that thing up yet. Do we even have real ID going on in Washington yet? Is mine even a real ID? I don't know. I just use my passport card because I don't freaking know. I updated my driver's license a couple years ago. I don't think they did a real ID with it. So I'm going to have to use my passport card whenever I travel. But yeah, it's going to be a shit show because only 30% of Americans have a passport. So all those people going to Orlando and to Vegas and stuff like that just... yeah. Louis throwing his member chat in there. Brought you a lawsuit over BBYQ. What's that mean? I think it leaves two bigger lawsuits. There's HBC. There's DK versus Ryan Cohn, which they got that partial dismissal on. And my guess is that after the complaint, they're probably going to be like, we're not going to get money out of this, and they'll dismiss. And then there's one more. There was one more. There was, I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it. There's one more big one in there. I think, did he send it to me? Un momento, por favor. FTC versus Ryan Cohen. Yeah, there's an FTC case against Ryan Cohen. But that one shouldn't really matter for the merger thing at all. So, Chris Taylor says, bring it. Chris Taylor also says SMCI having a bit of a rough time tonight. Did their earnings come terrible? I forgot to look up SMCI earnings report. Supermicro. Weak guidance cites economic uncertainty and tariff impacts. Disappointing stock drops. Let's just see here. Guidance fell short of expectations last week. Economic uncertainty, tariff impacts. Earnings per share 31 cents, adjusted to 50 cents expected. So they did. So wait, I thought we read yesterday it was 31 cents was expected. Okay, so they got that spot on. Earnings share would fall in the range between 29 and 31 cents. Stock plummeted 12% following that release. Supermicro Tuesday gave investors their first glimpse of the fourth quarter results, and those are below expectations. Supermicro called for 40 cents, 50 cents in adjusted earnings per share on 5.6 billion, 6.4 billion revenue. L segment looking for 69 cents adjusted earnings. That's not really telling me much, but let's just see what they're doing after hours here. SMCI price. That's a big drop. Well, not big, not huge. I mean, it went from 33 to where are we now? 30.80. That's a tiny drop. But if you had puts at the money, you're doing all right. Getting a couple $100 a share, not too shabby. Probably hold till morning, down $2-ish or so. Yeah. I wonder how tariffs are going to affect them much. Probably enough. J-Dog just said standard Washington driver's license aren't real ID compliant. Well, there you go. So Washington State didn't set that up properly. So I guess you need the enhanced driver's license in Washington. Okay. Aaron Something. Hey, Houston. So the after hours yesterday, after the close, Finger was showing a bid of $2.80 and ask of $250 a share. Last week over the weekend, it was $1.56 bid and ask of $100. Are they glitches, or does a short want out to be showing that in the nighttime ask price? I have a feeling that their volume is low enough from after hours on that there's no other bids showing up other than the super duper high ones. We've seen that in GameStop and AMG at times. Is that all of a sudden these bid asks will appear, the spread will be huge, and then the price doesn't really change much from the action itself. So that's my guess. There's something that says I think Finger is going to go first before GME does. I bought more shares of Finger this morning and more call options expiring in January 2026. Would be great to sell it all for $100 a share. I mean, absolutely. That probably, it'd be right now banking what, $97,000 a call option if that's the case, or $9,700 a call option. That's not too shabby. And also, Ham is talking about stock named G-Bucks. Bought 25 shares this morning through 20, dipped to 280, and then towards the end of the day ran through to 6. At the close, there's a special dividend in G-Bucks coming out on Thursday. Ham says 4 million shares is the naked short in a float of 1.4 million. All right. Snurgler. Oh, Houston. Black Udon. Oh, wait. It does say the correct schedule time. My browser has been lying to me. Okay. Louis throwing some stickers. Eric, how do options look for GME on May and June? Do we still may squeeze? We can go look at the options here. Let's refresh this a bit. Okay. Chrome. There we go. Okay, so this is for next week. Looks like the implied volatility is creeping up a little bit. These were at 39%. a couple days ago on Friday. They're 51% now. We did drop below $26 today for a good chunk of the day. The big out of the monies, the big money or the big volume is on the 30s. Now, if we don't touch the 30s, then there's not going to be much gamma ramping to do. What we need is somebody buying right around here in huge numbers. Like someone stepping in and buying 50,000 2450s or something, or 25s, and just loading them up to force a big old gamma ramp going into this week. As for this week itself, we dropped out of the money. We're at 27 at the start of yesterday, so we lost 800,000 shares in that. We were actually, I think, we were like 2780 at one point. So we've lost 13,000 shares. Sorry, 130. Do math in my head. 1.3 million shares. There we go. And we don't have any big volumes until the 30s. So I don't know exactly. We don't have the options chain set up for the type of movement we had last year when Roaring Kitty bought 120,000 options. So, sorry. Woke up early staring at graphs all day. Yeah, we don't really have the option chain set up that way at all. And then for June, which are the yearlies, or the leaps, it'd be the June 20th, right? June 20th, they don't have big numbers here either. So I think we're probably doing this without Roaring Kitty this time. Unless suddenly, over the last couple of days of this week, he starts buying like crazy. Looks like we are kittyless. So that tells me we may not have the gamma push that we normally would have going into these swap expiration dates. I might still buy a bunch of options Friday, just see what happens over the weekend. But it's not looking super hot at the moment. When those 5,000 blocks of options were getting purchased a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, this is getting spicy, but it never amounted to more than like 4 of those purchases. So there's somebody out there who's got a lot of money on their hands who, I don't know what they're doing to hedge it, but we're now $4 out of the money on those when they were only like $2 out of the money at one point. So, we'll see where it goes. Just kind of, we're still in thumb twiddling land. I don't feel like we're back to chin stroking at the moment. Louis says hit the like button. Alex Bishop says fine. Bex, hey Houston, happy birthday. Did you watch the presser with Carney and Trump? Mark Carney looked thoroughly baffled, entertained by the rodeo, delivered some deadly insults wrapped as compliments too. I watched clips. I didn't watch the whole thing because I can't listen to Trump talk that long. It really is the most grating thing in the entire world. So I watched clips, and that's how I preserve my mental health in this day and age. I'm very curious about what Carney said behind closed doors, because there definitely was stuff spoken probably after the meet and greet where Carney's like, look, buddy, this is how it's going to work, and you're going to play ball. Because Trump wouldn't have acted that way had Carney laid the law down to him ahead of their public handshake and sit down. I always found those public handshakes and sit downs really weird. Like most presidents in the past, they're like, it's really lovely having you here today. Oh, thanks for having me. This is really wonderful. Oh, yes. Keep smiling. You got a few more pictures to go. Anyway, let's adjourn to the room where you do real things. And meanwhile, Trump just fucking diarrhea of the mouth. Blah, 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 blah. And Carney's just, trying his best not to have the furrowed brow of Zelensky, but it's like, you know how if you meet a random 8-year-old, they just tell you about Minecraft and they talk about Minecraft as if you know what the hell they're talking about for hours on end. Just completely just an autistic method of child entertainment. In Minecraft, my friend and I, we built this thing and we hit the hammer and they just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. This is like having an 8-year-old talk about Minecraft who's never played Minecraft in their life. That's basically what Trump was doing to Carney, is that he was just vomitous words spilling forth from his face hole, and none of it made sense, and all it did was solidify the fact that he has no idea what's going on, and that he's got a sub-child understanding of the complex issues of our economy that he's actively destroying. And Carney's looking at his face. You know, Carney is, I've said this before, is the preeminent economist on planet Earth. He's run two different central banks. No one's ever run two different central banks. And the World Trade Organization. So he's worked at 3 of the biggest banks in the entire world. And Trump is telling him that, you know, the United States is subsidizing you $200 billion a year. What the hell are you talking about, old man? We're doing trade. You buy a whole shitload of lumber from us and a whole bunch of car parts and, you know, canola oil and everything else. Like, one thing I'm pissed off about is I love Dare Fudge cookies. I cannot find Dare Fudge cookies anywhere to save my life, and that is a Canadian Champions cookie right there. If you're going to buy a cookie in a package, get a Dare Fudge cookie. They're amazing. In the store, it doesn't have them right now because tariffs are making it too hard to get them. Urgh. So, hey, only BLSP Black Death. Super Jets in Houston. You seen the pic of Trump with the red lightsaber? More interesting is that behind him there are 2 eagles, like the Russian 2-headed eagle. Yeah, have you guys seen that image they put out for May the 4th be with you on Sunday? White House, May the 4th be with you, red lightsaber. Yeah, stupid ass. So, just give me the image. There we go. Okay. Of course, you gotta rely on the Daily Show. So this is how Trump, I think, honestly believes that he modeled for a photo shoot to do this. So White House writes, Happy May the 4th to all, including the radical left lunatics who are fighting so hard to bring the Sith Lords, murderers, drug dealers, dangerous prisoners, and well-known MS-13 gang members back into our galaxy. You're not the rebellion, you're the empire. And then shows a picture of Donald Trump with a red lightsaber. Star Wars canon, red lightsabers aren't natural. If you're a Sith Lord, you capture a lightsaber from a Jedi, and it will be any color except for red. And you take the crystal inside, and you beat it and traumatize it, and it turns red. And that signifies that you are a Sith Lord. So Trump is already showing that, A, they don't understand how Star Wars works. B, they understand the allegory behind Star Wars, or, you know, what this represents. And C, they just basically implicated that Trump is a Sith Lord in this. So, swings and misses. There was a beautiful one I saw. I sent it to... Come on. Open up there. Go there. Go to messages. Click on one of those. Scroll up. Keep scrolling. There we go. I thought this was a good one. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. I like this one. So JD Vance writes, the prequels were underrated. And episode 1, Phantom Menace. Turmoils engulf the Galactic Republic. The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute. Tariffs, you dumb bitch. Like, that's... So, yes. Tariffs. It is tariffs. The message of the Phantom Menace is the Empire, and through Palpatine, Senator Palpatine, is levying tariffs on the outer worlds to inflict pain and foment rage to consolidate their fascist government. That is That's that's it. That's so dumb. Dumbest timelines. You're so dumb. Anyway, yes, BLSP Black Death. I saw the picture. The eagles behind, I guess, are kind of like the Russian two-headed eagle. We can bring that guy up here. Here we go. It's this dude. This is the Russian two-headed eagle. Look in two different directions here. It's yeah. So you can see, like, got two eagles, both looking different directions. It's not, it's not the same, but the symbolism might still be there. It depends on how AI did it, or whatever can you make a Russian two-headed eagle but with bald eagles and Donald Trump holding a red lightsaber because he's evil? Or maybe AI is just like, we're gonna throw this in here because we know he's evil, and perhaps the rest of the world will finally get it. And everyone at White House is too dumb to understand Star Wars. So I mean, I bet Stephen Miller watches Star Wars, and every time, some poor world gets blown up, he just blows a load or something. It's like, oh, I wish I could do that. Oh. So, you see the video from Stephen Miller from when he was in high school? We did a speech running for some like class president. He lost. And he was telling everyone, hey man, you don't need to pick up your trash or use trash cans. That's what the janitors are for. And then everyone booed and yelled at him. And he just was like, oh, I love it so much. Oh, I love your hatred. I've got a humiliation fetish, and it's my biggest chub I've ever had. That's basically how it goes. Where was I? I was at Carney 1. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, HW. What does a crystal ball say in the coming months? Big crash. Yes. I mean, if India and Pakistan are going to war, right? And we already got war not wrapping up in Ukraine, Russia. And it seems like we're doing a big military buildup to either attack the Houthis in Yemen or attack Iran in Iran, or maybe both at the same time. I'm not really sure. We're looking at global trade stopping like crazy. And there's other weird things going on too. Like before, the Saudis used to listen to Trump and he'd be like, hey, you need to stop production or slow it down. Saudis be like, okay, we'll do you solid. Now the Saudis are kicking up production, basically to kill off U.S. oil producers. We're capping wells at a huge clip right now. Lots of these oil workers are getting furloughed, laid off, looking for work. And somehow, for some reason, Trump now wants to open up our national parks to oil and gas drilling and crash the market even further. Like, they're already capping wells they have right now. Do you not understand supply and demand? Like, there's a price at which these wells are profitable, and the price is now below that. The easy oil is gone. The expensive oil is all that's left. So we're working on the expensive oil. We got to do the fracking. We got to do weird sideways drilling. We have to do all sorts of weird crap to get the oil out of the ground at this point, because we're at peak oil. And oil will not get produced at $20 a gallon. Yeah, gas is real cheap. Cool. But usually when oil drops like that, aside from the late 90s, which was a unique thing all its own, generally when oil drops like that, it's because there's an economic recession going on over large portions of the world, and shipping and commuting and travel just aren't happening. So the demand for oil plummets along with it. But hey, we can now watch a bunch of derricks pumping away in, I don't know, Capitol Reef National Park or something, or Bryce Canyon or Olympic National Park, or wherever they deem that they can suck oil out of the ground. So anyway, crash coming? Yes. I'd be curious to see how many trade deals Trump does where he gives up nothing in return to eliminate the tariffs on different countries, on Germany, France, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, etc., where he's like, yes, we come to an agreement, and then it just he just caves entirely, while like patting himself on the back, like, oh, I did a good job. We'll probably have a lot of that coming through. Because again, he fundamentally does not understand anything that's going on. They just tell him he got to win. He's like, I'll believe it because I'm not going to read it. And he goes from there. So that's probably our best hope, is that we have people negotiate trade deals that Trump just rubber stamps because he never reads the thing. And then it just returns everything back to the status quo. And he feels good about himself. I did something. Yes. We wild. Hey, HW. I'm tired of managing people. I fucking hate them. I also booked a 2-week holiday to Crete in July, so one positive at least. I guess there isn't much on GMG No Labs. Have a great show. Thank you. Lovely. My aunt was just in Crete. Now she's in Turkey, visiting all sorts of really cool monasteries and, holes drilled into cliffs and stuff like that. She sent me some great pictures. I'd love to go someday. Doesn't it? Trip to Africa again today? No. Brandon Wells, sub PPY No Labs. And the biggest PPY news is Bratia finally agreed to dismiss, even though the court had already dismissed it, but he's like now dismissing with prejudice. I guess the guarantee that he won't come back is that they aren't going to make him pay for Ryan Cohen's legal fees. So I guess we got that going for us. Michael Harrow, Houston. Did you open a bottle of Martinelli's for the end of Bratia? I did not. The next Martinelli's does not come until there's an announcement of capital or equity. That's it. Cash or equity. That's what I need. Then that 1.5-year old bottle of Martinelli's get cracked and probably be wine at this point. Javier, good evening. It's been a while since I've been watching live, but I can't read. Good evening. Been a while since I've been watching live, but any idea why this mass pump to place on the spy? Also, thank you for what you do, Mr. Wade. I think the mass look at to get your thumb on the pulse or finger on the pulse. You want to do your thumb because your thumb has a pulse of its own. Put your finger on the pulse of the average retail bro investor, and the average retail bro investor is not on Reddit. They're on Facebook Wall Street Bets. Again, the dumbest collection of human beings to ever grace this earth devote themselves to that page. My interactions on Facebook Wall Street Bets is to go, I can't believe you morons are this gullible. But these dudes are posting over and over again like, I bought the dip, baby. We're in it for now. Woo! Yeah! Trump! Yeah! And now the stock is down $10. The SPY is down $10 since Friday. So it's going to go further. There might be a couple little pumps here and there. We may need sort of a black swan or a catalyst to trigger it like immediately. I mean, Trump on a whim could be like, you know what? Forget the 90-day break in tariffs. We'll just do it now. And then everything goes. But it's not going to be good. We're contracting our economy. We're losing sales all over the world. You can't, let's make everything here. Okay. Then your customers are only Americans because no one else is going to buy it. They're just not. They're not going to buy it. Why? Because it's not going to be as good, because we can't get any of the parts around the world that are the good parts, and they're pissed off at us and they're going to avoid it. They're actively removing tariffs on Chinese electric cars in Europe and adding them to Teslas just to piss off the Americans. That's it. So Tesla's going to lose market share all over the world, all because he wanted to be a fascist little prick. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I get it. There has to be some consequences. So where are we going to sell our stuff? We're going to have to sell it to Americans. And it'll be just like buying a car in North Korea or Russia. You have a Lada, or you have this international car you can't bring in because of sanctions that works and is good. You're like, well, shit, I guess I got to buy this stupid Lada because I need a car. And it's just this cardboard of monstrosity. And that's where we are. So we're going to self-isolate ourselves in a way that probably no modern nation has ever done. And our economy is going to go in the shitter for the entire length of it until, they're finally gone. Only BLSP Black Death, throwing a green chat in there. Crash is coming, but please this week, because my puts. That's the prayer of the day trader right there. Where was I? And only BLSP Black Death. What that happened this time? My Tesla puts were almost printing. Gotta hate this rig stock market. Yeah, Tesla was going down hard this morning. TSLA Stark. Yeah, so it was down $8 from yesterday, all day long, down, and about, hour and a half before close, flew up, recovered about, 2/3 of what it lost, and now is right back to where it closed yesterday for no reason after hours. Like, Tesla stock falls as Germany sales tank, must tariffs, other reasons. Tesla troubles, European business is getting worse, a sales slump, blah, blah, blah. 0-day options craze could finally be coming to popular stocks like NVIDIA. So that has nothing to do with anything. But people are seeing that the market is super volatile. So yeah, they're playing that stuff a lot. All the headlines are Tesla plunges, Tesla plunges, Tesla plunges, Tesla plunges. And there's no good news for why it went right back up. None. You got me? It's voodoo. It's witchcraft is what it is. All right. Michael Harrow, Houston, which comes first? BBBY waterfalls, MOAS, or nuclear war between Pakistan and India? Nuclear war between Pakistan and India. Because that's the only one that's where stuff is actually happening right now. Actually, I don't know if it's going to be nuclear. MOAS, at this point, won't happen unless there's a catalyst. And BBBY is a great way to have a catalyst. So I put BBBY third. Nuclear with India, a slight first ahead of BBBY resolution and waterfall from that. Because there's more cash now in the estate than there is debt owed to creditors. So there's going to be a cash fall. The thing about India and Pakistan is that like any moment now, one of those guys can hit a button in anger, and there goes a good chunk of South Asia. I mean, your spy puts will print like crazy if there's a nuclear bomb dropped anywhere. So yeah, you got that. That could be a black swan event for a lot of stuff. I mean, just imagine, Tim Cook. He's spending billions of dollars to try to move all of his phone production out of China and into India, and then a nuke drops on one of the major cities where he's building the factory. It will just ripple across everything at this point. We are on the dumbest timeline. That's just where we are. We're just every day is just a head shake and a what the hell? What the hell, man? We could have life so good on this planet for so many people if a few billionaires did without their extra yacht money. Just a few of them. Just like we reduced the net worth of like 40 people. That's it. We'd solve 90% of our problems. Yeah. So, meh. Chris Taylor, yikes. A lot of explosions heard in Kashmir. I'm sure a lot of explosions are heard all over the place over there. Fred Jones, talking to Aaron Salentine, does Ham still scream about how he has educated everyone on the shorts? Also, does he still say that he knew about GME before RC? I don't listen to Ham, so I don't know. Shannon McDowell, hey. Fred Jones, Roaring Kitty. Oh, sorry, you meant Roaring Kitty before ours. Before RK, not RC. Only BLSP Black Death, can your economy finally die, pretty please? Said the German man. Medkit. Hey, HW, happy almost birthday. What can you tell us about all the hype online about the Arctic ice forming at a fast pace? It depends on the thickness. So surface ice. Let's go to the map. It's always easier to just kind of show things on the map here. Oops, that's not the map. That is Tesla price. There we go. Okay, so the Antarctic ice is where they saw the big growth. And you can see Antarctica here. So everything that's on land, all this stuff is fresh. It's all fresh water. So when this stuff melts, it drops fresh water onto the surface of the salty ocean around it, right? That makes sense, right? It melts, flows downhill, drops in the ocean. That's the water cycle, the hydrocycle. Now, what likely happened is all this fresh water is still sitting on top of Antarctica. The water doesn't cycle very far from Antarctica because there's this area called the Roaring 50s where the wind just kind of whips around in a circle, and it's this wind barrier that goes around Antarctica. And so the water doesn't really leave this area very much. Doesn't like head into the northern seas at all. Just stays in the south. And so the water is really brackish. The water is very fresh, and it has a higher freezing temperature than the salt water it's floating on top of. So my guess is that we're seeing fast expansion in the wintertime of this freshwater ice as it extends outwards, but it's not very deep because it's just the freshwater ice and doesn't extend far down into the salt water beneath it. And then when summer comes around, because it's thin, it melts really quickly and disappears. This is the same thing that's happening off of Greenland, where there's huge melt-offs happening. This fresh water is floating on top of the Gulf Stream, and it's shutting down the Atlantic current. Normally the Gulf Stream is this warm, salty water that comes out from the Gulf, fires up into the north, and keeps Europe way warmer than it should be. But because Greenland's melting so much, it's dropping so much fresh water on top of that it's burying the warm water underneath, and then it freezes much easier. So the fear is that it keeps that Gulf current completely submerged. Europe never gets warm again, and then we have as a result of everyone else getting super hot, Europe plunges into sort of a microclimate of cold. So that is my idea of what's happening in Antarctica, because the temperatures are still insanely high. So that just means that more fresh water is dumping into the ocean, and therefore you're creating quicker and easier ice to make in the wintertime because it freezes at a higher temperature than salt water. And salt water freezes around 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and fresh water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what you're looking for. The monkey's asleep. I bored her to death with that one. Okay. Chris Taylor attended by calls and opium. True Seeker, Houston, can you give us the cliff notes of finger gracias? I'm not the best finger expert in the term. I mean, I know how to finger, but that's dumb. But my guess is Finger did one of those Lynn partnership deals. They got shorted like crazy. Their financials improve every quarter. They still get shorted. And right now it sounds like the float's really small, the volume's really high, and seems to be blood in the water like there was back in, 2023 when it was going through that cycle last time. So, yeah, I wouldn't doubt if we kind of see this cycle happen. As it closes in on the options dates, because it does options only once a month because it doesn't have a very high float. So as you look for May 16th, you'll see ramping up happen on May 16th. And if it closes high enough, it might have a gamma ramp or a gamma squeeze the next week. But then they have 4 whole weeks to try and calm it down again. So it was having these cycles every month in 2023, and we might be getting back to that right now. That's my guess, anyway. Just I mean, nuclear powers fighting equals green tomorrow. Yeah. Titleist, happy birthday. Brandon T. Hi, Houston. My wife and I had our annual meeting with our investment fund, Canada. The picture they paint of a world and U.S. economy over the next year is terrifying. But they said it's so matter of fact. Yeah. They probably said something to the effect of, do you want to just put it in gold or cash or just kind of European defense stocks? I don't think you want it in American stocks at this point. Oriana Mosca says, yes, Ham says it all the time. Is he lying? I'm not sure. Seagill bought a couple more GME calls. Can't pass up that IV. The IV is still very tempting. J-Dog, passports, enhanced military, plus a few others are still good. Talking about the IDs. Guess I'll be driving this summer on road trips. I mean, just because of... Have you guys been reading about what's been going down with air traffic controllers at Newark? Like, they lost radar for quite a long time. The air traffic controllers, your heart will spike because there's a reason why they refer to how many souls are on a plane. And if you're an air traffic controller, your greatest fear is a fuck up where hundreds of people die due to you not doing your job properly. And they're short-staffed. The radar went out. They could not see anybody coming in for landing or takeoffs or anything. And they had to halt everything and hope that the radar got fixed. And these dudes and ladies had panic attacks, mental breakdowns, not knowing if they're getting everybody killed. And so when everything came back online, these people emotionally could not do their job anymore. Right? And here's the thing, is they're overworked because they're understaffed. They're understaffed because a whole bunch of them basically got shit canned by Elon. Then the computer network and the telecommunication network they're used to do the contact between the tower and the radar was Verizon under contract, and now for some reason it's Starlink. And obviously that fucking failed. So I'm not interested in doing domestic flights anymore. Get me out of American airspace. Like, this is insane. So all these air traffic controllers who emotionally cannot manage flights, they're all on like 45-day paid leaves to go talk to therapists. Basically, go talk to like a sports psychologist type person who can get them to the point where they can get up to the plate again. Because right now they can't do it. And so, flights they're having hundreds of cancellations a day. Most flights are 2 to 4 hours delayed because they just don't have enough people. They're so damaged and so understaffed, they can't land the planes. They can't talk them in. So that seems to be on the more extreme side of what the rest of the country is going to be feeling. There's a flight the other day where... Okay, so the National Weather Service has regions. So if we look at the United States here, right, there are regions meteorologists take over. It's like California's got a few of them. You got some guys in Northern California, some in Southern California. So it might be like 5 or 6 districts where there's a weather service meteorologist whose entire job it is to look at the weather and report on what that weather is doing at any one moment. And by meteorologists, I mean there's probably several of them working shifts, right? Reporting on this stuff. And that data gets reported to air traffic controllers and the military and shippers and everyone else. There are blank regions across districts all over this country. Let me see if I can find the graph. So there's blank regions all over the country happening. And there's a big one that is basically Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, right in here. And let me see if I can find the graph. I know I sent it to... I think I sent to Iggy and Julio the other day, but let me... There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So go back to here. Go to there. I have to scroll back a ways, but let's see if we can do it. Scroll back. Sometime this weekend. Not that one. Where are you? It's about gold. That's not about... How far was it? Was it like a week ago? Was it too long ago? We were talking about this. Everything just blurs together at one point. Okay, that's making fun of that. That's that thing. Okay. Come on, weather. Come on, weather thing. Where are you? How far back am I? I'm on Saturday, so it must have been maybe this weekend I sent it. Scroll, 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 scroll. Show me the stupid map. How many days ago was it? I passed it already? Am I just that silly? Come on, man. Come on, man. Show me the map. Show me the map. If Julio can find it faster than me, send it to me. I'll totally take that. Okay, that's that lame-ass guy. That's that lame-ass guy. That is... I'm scrolling the right one, yeah. Yeah, I am, okay. That's the problem. These chat threads I have with folks are just so long, I can't find things I need anymore. Where are you, weather map? Can I just search inside this thing? Does it allow me to do that? Am I even... Okay, maybe if I go here. I go there. I go National Weather Service. There it is. Ah, that's the one I wanted. Okay. Okay. So, first of all, I gotta click this thing back here. I gotta turn the Google Earth off. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So, these are the regions, these forecast offices, where there is no one doing weather forecasts anywhere in here. This is Tornado Alley, man. There's nobody doing weather forecasts here in Tornado Alley. Almost the entire state of Kentucky is without a weather forecaster. So anyway, there's this flight that was going from San Francisco to DC, I believe. No, to New York. And they hit bad weather and had to land in Cleveland. Why? Because there was no one there to tell them there was bad weather. Because there was no meteorologist available from the National Weather Service to do that. And what do you do with that? You land the plane because you're like, oh shit, that's a big storm. This is terrifying. I don't know how large it is. I don't know if we're going the right direction. Probably should have been told to go around it. And so they landed in Cleveland. They then had got directed to DC rather than New York, and they put everybody on buses to drive them to New York. And even here, like, look at this. Where's Newark? Right there. We have the densest population center in the whole of the United States of America does not have an active meteorologist. For northwestern New Jersey, northeastern New Jersey, New York City, through southern Connecticut and Long Island. That is the densest place in America, and they don't have anybody doing the weather. Houston, Texas. No one's doing the weather. Right? Fucking Milwaukee, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus. No one's doing the weather. The other Columbus in South Carolina. You can't function as a modern society if you don't know what the storm cloud's coming. You just can't. It is not how it works. So, what are we supposed to do with it? They fired them all, and there's no one coming in to replace them. It's so dumb. So fucking stupid. We're in the dumbest timeline. And we all know the solution to it. We all know what the fix is, just we won't fix it. Instead, we're going to have a giant military parade on Trump's birthday and spend $90 million doing that, when that's enough money to pay for double the number of meteorologists across the entire country. But no, we're going to have some tanks go by and some soldiers go, oh, look at you, draft dodger. You're a hero now. You better put some medals on your chest, you fucking loser. That's where we are. So, tired, boss. Give my payout. Okay. Did that one. And real ID one. Beauty brand. I had several things I found interesting listening to the news today, but on the drive home, my brain erased them all. Happens to learn something. It's like trying to remember a dream. Like, oh, this is a really cool dream. Well, put me under hypnosis. I'll recount it there. Galenus, I barely check GME anymore. J-Dog says, go Mariners. Tough loss last night. Mariners trying to hold on to AL West lead. You know, they have a little tough part of the schedule, but after that, I think it's pretty good. Right, Monkey? Stretch it out, buddy. Yeah? You're a good dog. Yes, you are. Just Miami, Pakistan Air Force squadrons heading towards India. Calls on spy Houston. It's going to be like, 1 billion people raised off of Earth. We're going up 20% today. Yeah. Just insane. Just Manly, well, don't look at that huge green candle in the spy just now. Oh. Let's see. Yep, huge green candle in the spy right there. Look at that. Exactly that. Boom. Hey, look, nuclear war. Oh, let's fly up $5, $6? $6. There it is. Fucking, what is... Nothing makes sense, man. Nothing makes sense. Only BSP Black Death says, Germans are so pissed at USA we won't even invade you anymore. Just Miami says, nah, it's on the percent lying about China talks. Yeah, China's not having any talks whatsoever with us. There's no talks going on. When Trump has called, apparently, they say, hold please, and then they put on Obama speeches and make him listen to Obama speeches until he hangs up or someone at the White House hangs up. That's how petty they are right now. They're signing exclusive trade deals with Japan, Korea, and other places throughout East Asia. They've got deals going on with Europe, deals going on with Australia, deals going on with Canada. Basically, what we've done is we've acquiesced, we've abdicated our market share to these other countries to China now. So China is going to supply them with things that we were supplying them with before. There's some things you won't be able to get out of China that will be high quality. Probably not, wine grapes. That's about it. But everything else you can probably get out of China. So, there you have it. Citizen 4, Trump officials Bessent and Greer to meet with Chinese counterparts on trade economic issues. Yeah, right. Just made me China denial of such meeting in 3, 2, 1. Yes. Sad Boy Corbett Houston, can I come on a show sometime? What are we going to talk about? Tell me what we're going to talk about and we'll talk about it. J-Dog, TSA director announced non-real ID travelers can still fly tomorrow, but will need to use the special slow line. Allows 6 hours for domestic and 10 hours for international, probably. Sad Boy Corpus says working at the Texas Capitol is insane. I can imagine it being absolutely bonkers. Do they work as much as they used to? Because I remember back in the day, like they would only go into session once every 2 years, and the sessions were really short. Are they actually there more than they used to be? Peter Brand says, I agree, and he mentioned that the White House did something seems to be rebutted by the other party. Mm-hmm. And Sadboy Corbett says there's a bill to ban furries in the Texas House. Look up HB 4814. If you are a Texas furry, aren't dildos still illegal in Texas? I thought that was still on the books, which is crazy because I have friends that worked in a dildo factory in Austin, Brownsville, somewhere down there. They're from Brownsville, maybe it was in Austin. Yeah. HB 4814, Texas. Gosh dang it, can I just spell Texas? There we go. Okay. I think the legislature. That's jail. I don't think this is this one. Furries? Author Texas bill to ban furries in schools. So basically, you can't have mascots? would ban non-human behaviors in public schools, including the use of litter boxes and wearing animal costumes. So this is so dumb. So dumb. Texas bill known as the Furries Act would ban non-human behaviors in public schools, including use of litter boxes and wearing animal accessories. Representative Stan Gerns, the bill's author, claims schools are providing litter boxes for students acting as furries. Stan Gerns is a moron. When pressed, Gerns could not find an example. The bill was left pending in committee. Okay, so here's where the rumors about students using litter boxes came from. It was due to school preparation for school shootings, right? And lockdown procedures that happen means students can't go to the bathroom. So some schools, I don't know if they're in Texas or not, some schools would stock like a 40-pound bucket of kitty litter. So if children needed to use the restroom and they can't leave their classroom because it's in lockdown because active shooter or whatever, they can pee into that litter box rather than just piss their pants or on the floor or whatever. That's why they exist. But it somehow got turned around into kids are pretending to be cats and peeing in litter boxes and schools are supporting it. No, it's because you dorks let a whole bunch of unhinged people have guns that go out and just want to murder children. And then they go and murder those children. And then those children are living in fear, cowering in a dark classroom, and some of them have to pee themselves. That's why it exists. So Stan Gerns is a fucking doofus, and he's making a really silly rule all because he doesn't understand that people shooting children is resulting in kitty litter being stored in classrooms. So now school mascots like, I am the West Texas, I don't know, Angry Bull. And they're going to be like, you're going to jail, kid. I'm just trying to cheer on my football team. Hands behind your back, asshole. That's basically what we're going to be left with. So dumb. Why is there a defender ad popping up? Go away. Time for me to get going here. So we'll do a show tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. It might be an evening show. There's some things I'm accomplishing during the day. There will be a show tomorrow at some point. We'll just see when that is. You think that, fat boy? No? A little slap and happy? Okay. Well, anyway, I didn't get to all your questions. I apologize. I will catch you on the flip side. Manana. Boop. Fat boy. Horsey.